It's that time of the year to talk about the big 365-day elephant in the room. That's right, the hours of 2022 are dwindling down, and I think it's a good moment to look back at the year in review, but also talk about the future. Now, 2022, well, it left me black and blue, but I'm grateful it happened because there was a lot of lessons learned this year, and the year itself was a little rough, and we're going to go into some reasons why. Some reasons I haven't really fully discussed on the channel, but let's start in January, right? Because January 1st, 2022, I was recovering from COVID. That's right, I had to miss New Year's Eve last year, where I had a party planned, like I was going to be hosting. I had all my food and stuff bought, and what did I end up doing on New Year's Eve? Live streaming Halo Infinite and Rocket League, watching Keenan and Kel all night, and video chatting with my parents. So, at least I semi got to celebrate. At least on January 1st, I believe it was January 1st, the HBO special for the Harry Potter 20th anniversary was released. So that helped me recover a little bit. And, aside from that, January and February were really kind of boring months. I really didn't do much. Aside from recover from COVID and kind of just play video games. What else is new, right? Then March hit, right? Because March is where life started getting a little interesting. First things first, March. My birthday, 30th birthday this year. I'm officially getting old, guys. Also, earlier in March, I got my bottom wisdom tooth taken out, which only finally closed up about 3 weeks ago, about 9 months later. That was a rough recovery period. Even the day I got it out, it took about 9 hours to stop bleeding. So that's how you knew it was rough. But March, I had my first vacation. Really didn't do much. Kind of just relaxed, hung out with some people. And nothing much. My second vacation came in July, and that's right. From March to July, all I did was really work, go to the gym, and play video games. Kind of boring, right? July, I was lucky enough to go away for a few days with my parents, my niece, nephew, and my sister. We went to a house I rented up in the Poconos, relaxing. It felt nice, let me be honest, to live with my parents again, because I, for a few days, didn't have to adult. I kind of just was allowed to just be the child again. And I am ever so grateful for that, because you don't realize how stressed out you are until you don't have to really worry about anything. And, my parents are awesome for that in itself. And then July, August, really nothing. Now, in September, unfortunately, my uncle passed away, which, if you guys know me, you know that. I don't know if I ever really mentioned it on the channel, but it's still something I deal with and try to cope with every day. But obviously, like many of us in the family, due to the circumstances of everything, we're all still, I guess, trying to grieve, still trying to get over it, but it's not really something you ever get over. You just kind of learn to accept. So from September really up until now, has kind of been a realization period for me. Even more of a rebuilding period in itself to kind of make sure I'm really completely healthy, getting my health back in order. If you guys look back over the last couple months, you've realized my face looks a lot healthier because I've been taking care of myself a lot better. But also some other things I learned during this time comes into friendships and relationships. I started understanding more that as friendly as I am, as much as I like to give people chances, there's a difference between a friend that's going to feed your soul and feed your energy and someone who's going to drain it. And it was over the last couple months, I kind of cut off a lot of people because it was more work than friendship to have them in my life, unfortunately. And I hate to say things like that, right? Because, I do believe there's good in everyone. It's a matter of dragging it out. That's just the optimism in me. But it's been so much more peaceful for me. Who knows where life is going to ever bring us back down the same road from there. Now, in contrast to 2021, I honestly think was my year of heartbreak because so many failed relationships. This year didn't really have any, but that was by design. Earlier on in the year, kind of tried, but then when I realized it just wasn't working, it was time to really focus on me, focus on building what I want to build for myself, for my future, and just focusing on my own personal development and growth, because I realized during that time there was a lot of things I had to work on for myself, such as making sure I was going to be as healthy as I needed to be moving forward. As you guys know, over the last couple of years, I've been always randomly sick with stuff, and this year I really wasn't. Knock on wood, minus like a sinus infection I had, which was semi-normal. So, with all that being said, 2022 was a stressful year, right? Because as much as 2022 for me felt like things were getting back to normal, like pre-pandemic, and mentally and physically, I'm in the same shape I was at the end of 2019, where 2019 I was ready to conquer 2020. I was in the gym all the time, which I'm back doing. I was just in great shape at this point 3 years ago, and nothing was going to stop me until the world stopped me and stopped all of us. So I say that I want 2023 to be the year that 2020 was supposed to be. And Lord help me if another pandemic happens, because I am not doing it this time. I don't care what happens. I'm not living, or I'm not approaching things like I did in 2020. If that happens, it's going to be a whole new ball game, but knock on wood that it doesn't. With that being said, let's talk about 2023, because 2023 I have named for myself the year of adventure. It's going to be the year that's in a way a return to form for me, because I've always been an adventurer. I've always been a wanderer, kind of a loner at points too. I like to explore. I like to see things. I like to speak with different people. I like to just interact with humanity and society, if that makes sense. So I made a list for myself for 2023, which is smart for me because it's, again, a return to form, because I used to make a list every year of what I wanted, not necessarily my resolutions to be, but my ambitions for the next year and the goals I had set up for myself. So certain things for that list, without going into all of them, are travel to London. That was supposed to be my vacation in 2020, and never got around to it, obviously. I want to go to Toronto, which both of these are kind of plausible because Canada's not even that far from me, whether I take a plane or drive. I want to grow my channel more and gain about 5,000 subscribers. So, if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, help your boy out a little bit earlier. But that's going to be obviously a big thing in terms of networking, get my name out there, just for the fact that I don't even have 5,000 subscribers now. So that's kind of a big, ambitious goal. Some other goals were just hiking more, spending more time with friends and families, building meaningful relationships, which goes back to what I said earlier about this year. I learned who fed my soul and who drained it. And those people that feed my soul are the relationships I'm hoping to establish going forward. I'm trying to think what else I had on that list. Get some more computer certificates, further teach myself video editing so I can make these videos a little bit better. Because in turn, with 2023 being the year of adventure for me, I wasn't just talking about physical adventures. I was talking about mental adventures too, learning different things, keeping my brain out of its comfort zone, if that makes sense. And that's who I've always been. I never really used to have a comfort zone until the pandemic happened. I was always kind of the outgoing one, the go-getter. And I definitely lost that. I developed a lot of bad habits during 2020 and 2021, which, stifled who I was, I guess, in terms of growth. There was a saying I had heard today, and it's so true, and it sparks your brain a little bit. And it was, in life, you can't control the cards you're dealt, but you can handle or control how you play your hand, which makes a whole lot of sense. It's like what I've said before is, life is 90% about what happens to you, I screwed that up horribly. Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it. So, it goes along those same lines. And with 2023, I think a lot of it is the fact that mentally and physically I've gotten back in tune with myself. I think I'm going to finally, have the motivation, have the energy to do everything I used to do and more, right? Because, the pandemic, like I mentioned, is what stifled me, what stopped me, what made me develop a lot of these like bad laziness habits where I had never been that person before. Now that I'm finally feeling like me again, finally kind of have my health going again, my wisdom tooth finally closed up. You know, that was a thing that I would go to the dentist for a cleaning, and I'd be like, yeah, well, why isn't it healing? It's been like 6 months at this point. Then magically, like over the course of a week, about a month ago, this thing just started closing. Odd how the body works, right? But yeah, so that's kind of my year in review. 2022 was the year of rebuilding. It was a year of realization. It was a lot of not taking family for granted, not taking your loved ones for granted, you know, cherishing every moment you have with them. But also, you know, I knew 2022 was going to be a rough year when I started the year with COVID, right? I thought from there it could only get better. But in many ways, COVID was the easiest thing I had to deal with this year, emotionally and physically. And 2023, you know, as of this point in time of recording, is looking very promising in terms of what I want to accomplish. If I do go to London or Toronto, I will be putting together probably a video log of the trips. I do want to video edit. I want to grow this channel, as I mentioned. I'm getting back to streaming. I might be streaming tomorrow. Going into New Year's, because I have work super early on New Year's Day, and you know, it's not going to be much of a party for me unless I just not care, which not really the smartest decision to do these days. But yeah, so my year of 2022 was a return to form, like, because it felt pre-pandemic, as I mentioned, but a rough return to form. And I'm hoping 2023 I can you know, not have to check my list twice like Santa Claus, because I got my goals established. You know, I felt like if I needed to add things to it, I would, depending how accomplishing everything I want to was going. But I set my goals knowing, as of, you know, current me, what I really want to accomplish, and those are the things I'm going to work towards the or throughout, I guess is the word I wanted to say, 2023. So that is my year in review. You know, not really eventful, but eventful at the same time, right? Because of a lot of the things that did happen were big things that impacted me. And there were 5, 6 of those. But throughout the rest of the year, it was actually kind of boring. So I do want to make 2023 more eventful, in positive ways, obviously. So, you know, I want to thank everyone who's watching the video, everyone who's tuned in, everyone who's been here throughout the years and all the years past. And I wanted to give you guys that little insight of, you know, things going forward. It's not very often, usually once or twice a year, I let you kind of into the deep divings of who I am, minus just whatever we're talking about in the videos. So, with that being said, leave your resolutions, your thoughts, your year in review down below. I want to hear what, you know, everything that happened to you guys this year. And where you plan on going forward, going into the next year. I got to make dinner now. I got to figure out what I'm doing the rest of the night. I got to figure out what I'm doing with the last day of 2022, right? Because I want to end the year, hopefully, with something monumental, something special. You know, we started it with COVID, low note. Let's end it somehow with a high note, guys. So, as always, if you're new to the channel, drop that subscribe, like, share, comment down below. I do read all of my comments and comment back to all of them. So stay happy, stay healthy. Thank you for staying with me throughout this year, and I hope to see you all soon in about 2 days. Have a good one. Bye.